Hi, it's Dr. Teran, and you're listening to The Pop. The Pursuit of Peace podcast is brought to you by SP Consulting Group, where the mission is bringing your vision to life. Hi, and welcome back. It's your host, Dr. Teran. Thank you for joining me again on another recording of The Pop. And today, again, we are still in May. It is only May 15th. We're going to get through it, right? Well, we're going to be talking today, bringing you another tip to thrive from Mental Health America. And as I always share with people, if you need help, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want to be sure that if you are feeling like you are struggling with your mental health, be sure to go to MHAscreening.org. That's MHAscreening.org. And as always, if you really are in an emergency, make sure you dial 911. We don't want you out there thinking that you're in this alone. There are people out there to help, and we want to make sure that you stay with us. You have a unique place in this world. You have a purpose. And here on The Pop, we are looking at a pursuit of peace so that you can actually fulfill your purpose in life. So, what are we doing today? We're going to be talking about connecting with others. That is one of the tools and tips to thrive, okay? So the tip for connecting with others, and you're saying, why are we going to go through this right now when we're supposed to be staying away from each other? But one thing that is 100%, we are people that need one another. We were created to be together. So I want to go through and share some of the tips that are on here for tips to thrive and just tell you a few thoughts that come up for me. But I want to make sure to get it out there very clearly, especially if you don't have access, don't have the time. Again, here at the Pursuit of Peace, we are mindful of that. Not everyone has time to stop and look up and pull up a PDF and then wait for it to circulate to an email and then somewhere else. You know the deal. So tips for connecting. Number one, connect with others at places you already go to. Again, we are going to recap on some of these because we are practicing social distancing, right? All right. So the next one is use shared experience as a topic of conversation. The next one is give compliments. Next, we have make time to be social. The next one is not all connections have to be done in person. Of course, that's what we're talking about. Even though we are in quarantine, let's consider that as I list these. But this one in particular is really perfect for the time that we're in with staying our distance, even with things starting to open up in phases. We all are still having to make sure that we do what we can to continue to flatten the curve, continue to support one another by staying at least 6 feet apart, wearing our mask, right? So this one says not all connections have to be done in person. The next one is accept invitations. And then the last two, one of which is pay attention. Pay attention to what other people are interested in. And lastly, for this particular tools and tips to thrive is organize activities. So let's talk about a few of these. So the first one is connecting with others at places you already go to. So for instance, there's places that some of you may have to go to because you're not having to stay in the house. You have maybe it's requirements even that you continue to go into work. You may be one of our frontline workers, one of our essential workers. And even if you're not listed as essential, it may be essential for you to go into work. And there are places where you can go and you can talk. You can possibly still have access to bring your coffee with you and talk with someone 6 feet apart. Remember, wearing your mask. But making sure that, for instance, if you are joining someone, for instance, you can be joining someone actually at the park or the beach. The beach is just opened up here in Los Angeles. And so you can be joining someone, but then you're joining them also with social distancing. But you can still meet up, tag team looks or air high fives, air hugs, and keep it moving, right? Another one is that you're using shared experience as a topic of discussion. Like a lot of us are talking to one another a lot more, communicating a lot more, whether it's through our online platforms, your Zoom, your Google Duos, all of those different things. Your FaceTime is being used a lot, but share your experiences. Be able to speak up and talk about what's going on with you. Maybe you're stuck, having to be at home, not having a place to go, whatever it may be. Talk about the experience. We need you to open up. And during this time, we're also giving compliments, right? As we're talking, we're not just venting about all the things that are wrong, but what you want to do is try to figure out when you're having these conversations, when you can start giving compliments. Everyone needs words of affirmations, even if it isn't their primary love language, but people really do feel good when you give a positive comment on what's going on, whether it's, you were able to, now that we're like in the house still with this quarantine, you were able to get up and brush your hair, for example. I'm just joking. But, I noticed that that's a nice color shirt on you or something. Either way, the whole point is give a compliment. Embed that in your conversation so that you can help people be uplifted. You never know what someone's going through. I know that a lot of people, when I'm up and about, think that everything's fine with me because I look good, everything's fine. But when people have given me compliments where I am feeling worse than what I look like, or, how that song says, I don't look like what I'm going through, having people step out of their comfort zone to just give a compliment goes a long way, right? So another one is making time to be social. Yes, we are social distancing, but let me tell you an example of how that can happen. How about you make time to actually join, for instance, a Facebook group where you're able to go on, for instance, Skype or even Zoom. A lot of people are using Zoom, but you are able to go onto those platforms and have, for example, tea time. Or for those that like or are connoisseurs of wines, how about you have a happy hour with your favorite wine and just relax and talk with one another and be social? I know I'm doing a book club with one of my mental health support groups on Facebook, and we're doing a mindfulness book club where we get together, we text each other or IM each other what chapters we're going to read. And then we get together and we discuss it. We talk about our concerns. We do compliment one another. We are there to support. So that's a way that you can be social even when we are social distancing. So the next one is the one that I had paused on, where we're talking about not all connections have to be done in person, right? And in the words of Mental Health America, I want to say this because I really agree with it. While spending time with someone face to face helps to create the strongest relationships, phone calls, text messages, emails, video chats, as I just mentioned, can actually maintain friendships as well, especially when there's distance between you or even time constraints that get in the way of hanging out. I know that I have friends that I have known for years. We barely get to talk. But you know what? Even though we aren't able to do that through text messages, emails, social media platforms, phone calls when we can, especially in the midst of child rearing, a lot of us have kids, it is still strong relationships. So even though you aren't able to connect, and we are continuing to support social distancing for everybody's well-being, this is something that you can consider. It may not be the most comfortable, especially for those of us that are extroverts, and you have to have that synergy going, right there in the present moment. But this is the alternative. The next one is accepting invitations. Now, I know I accepted that invitation to do the book club and accepted another invitation that I received for someone that was sharing that they have a Bible book club. It's like a Bible study where they are talking about different parts of the Bible that track the life and the ministry of Jesus from the Bible. And they really show in depth what's going on, but also they allow you to interact. I accepted that invitation. I am juggling a lot of different things, but having that time is actually, just to be honest, me making sure I have scheduled self-care. It is fulfilling to me, as we talk about mind, body, spirit, it is fulfilling to me, and it feeds the healthy spirit man of myself when I'm able to do that. Just like it feeds my carnal, if I say it that way, my carnal man by doing the mindfulness as well. So mindfulness mixed in with prayer, all of that good stuff actually helps me reset and for me to mind my own mental health, right? So we're talking about if people extend an invitation to you, or maybe even you accept or return the favor. Say you invite someone to something like that. You invite someone to a Zoom meeting or a Zoom get together, a family gathering through Zoom. Let's be creative, take that extra step, because it's actually going to help us in the long run. I promise you. The next one, let's see here. We have pay attention to what other people are interested in. We are not, again, face to face with one another. So we have to be mindful of that and make sure that we are being fully present when we are on Zoom, when we are on these different platforms. I know that our attention span can be very short, and when you're talking with someone, it's pretty obvious, especially when you're on these platforms, when you're no longer listening, you're looking down. I have even been guilty of it. If I'm sitting in a training and I'm listening, and I am listening, but then unfortunately my attention gets to where I'm looking at an email, or I'm looking down to look at a notification that may have come up on my cell phone. But either way, when you are making sure that you're following this particular tip to thrive from the Mental Health America Toolbox, connecting with others requires you to actually engage with them. And that's what you're doing when you're paying attention. Pay attention to what other people are interested in. If it's a coworker, and they're talking about it, say you're having a icebreaker before your meeting, right? You're having an icebreaker before your meeting, and the supervisor or whoever's their team lead may say, hey, everybody go around and talk about what your pet name is. Tell us something that is interesting about you that we don't already know. And you're going around making sure that you're paying attention, right? If they're talking about their kids, that helps maintain the relationship, that helps maintain any level of organic connection when you're not right there in person. That's the best thing, to really absorb. And as I like to say, that's actually a big component of not only listening in the general sense, but as I like to continue to press people to do, is become, display, and live an emotionally intelligent lifestyle. And paying attention to other people allows you to do that, right? So the last one, organize activities. Oh my goodness, I have been off and on. I'll say that. I've been off and on with this particular activity because of the ups and downs that comes with my resilience. And for any of you that aren't aware of it, there is a sloping effect and impact to when you're getting down in the dumps, okay? Let's use that. Okay, you're getting down in the dumps about something, whether it's the stressors, the pressure, the anxieties associated with this pandemic, whatever it may be that's bringing down a loss, loss of freedoms, loss of a loved one, loss of a friend, loss of the normal that you once knew of. You begin to get closer and closer to that burnout, right? But for someone that is resilient and is aware of this and is able to catch and find meaning in that moment and able to use and tap into their internal emotional anchors, then they can then pull them out of that drag, right? That download to where usually people begin to get depressed. They can pull themselves out of that. Then they start to begin to practice things, whether it's let me reach out to someone, let me reach out to my mentor, or let me talk to someone. Either way, I'm going to make that long story short. You want to make sure to stay organized. Organize. Don't be discouraged if your schedule doesn't cooperate at times. And that's what I mean by that. Like, you may be on and off with your scheduling, but keep making the attempt, keep making an effort to reach out. Keep making an effort to sit and rest. Everyone, including myself, are in some ways taking advantage of this time to reset and refine and to build, but make sure to organize and schedule time to stop, sit, and listen to your body, right? We have to do it. So this is the Connecting with Others Tips to Thrive from Mental Health America in their toolbox. And I'm just going to list them really quick again. Connect with others at places you already go to. Use shared experience as the topic of conversation. Give compliments. Make time to be social. Know that not all connections have to be done in person. Accept invitations. Pay attention to what other people are interested in, and organize your activities. And just to throw out a couple of fast facts, as they call it, research does show that it can take 50 hours. 50 hours. I'm putting up my hands as if you see me flashing my hands going 50 hours of someone you don't know that well to turn into a friend. That's interesting. And during the week, Americans watch an average of 2.5 hours of TV per day, but only spend about a half an hour per day socializing. I would like to say that number is even more than that. I would say some people spend at least 6 to 7 hours sometimes watching TV, whether it's on in the background or they're really engrossed in it because of this quarantine, even if it's just for the weekend. Either way, pay attention to that and pay attention to how you can reverse that pendulum and do some more socializing, because connecting with others is a part of your health, right? And then the last little tip is the number of friendships you have early in your adult life and the closeness of those relationships can influence your well-being 30 years later. And that is probably why a lot of my friends came from when I was in middle school. And during that time, I still hold true to those friends, even those that I, connected with during college. I just love them. So shout out to all my folks that attended Cleveland School of the Arts, class of 2001. We also adopted class of 2002. Shout out to you guys, as well as shout out to my Ohio University Bobcats. And one more shout out to my Ohio State University Buckeyes. Okay. So, all right. I am done. I want you guys to, again, find ways to stay connected during this time. That is the key today. All right. Get help. And as always, if you need help, you need a coach, always feel free to reach out to me. I am Dr. Teran of SP Consulting Group. You can always find me at www.officialspconsultinggroup.com. Okay. Even if you have to do in the https://www.officialspconsultinggroup.com. Okay. All right. These are some very important topics for you to apply to your life during this pandemic. I hope you're well. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Wash hands. Be good to yourself. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.